Welcome to Feminism, its finest. We're joined by Archie, Sophie, Jamie and Carter. So feminism, what is it?
I think feminism is, or should be, when like equal rights for both genders. Like some people, it's become one of those things where some people think that it's because it's called feminism, it's just rights for women. But really, it's feminists sort of think that women are below men in society, so they need to like sort of come up and meet men
standards.
Which is true. Like we don't think that is true.
Yeah. Well, you said something about both genders. Would someone argue that there's more than two genders?
Yeah, that's a lot.
So what's your take on that?
In the workplace, I think it's the main place that people think there's inequality, so like in pay gaps and things like that. So usually, well, only women can produce children, so most people say that women take more time off or are more likely to not stay in the job for as long as men are because of childbearing. So that's where the pay gap and gender comes in.
Right.
Yeah.
I do think there's
You do think there's what?
straight away.
So continuing from the first question, what do you guys actually think feminism is?
The equal rights of like males and females. Like,
Yeah, so like trying to get voting, equal pay, education.
Well, you've said those voting and education. Voting, I think. Do you think that's like become level now?
Yeah, that's all good now.
Yeah. So
You
there's
happy with that?
no
Yeah.
indifference between that.
No, there's not at all.
What about the pay gap then?
Yeah, there definitely is. Yeah, like there still is.
In what respect?
Yeah. Tell us, what facts have you got about the pay gap?
Obviously, you've got like actual facts that say that men earn more than women generally. I think it comes down to jobs
But
as
where
well.
are those facts coming from?
The New York Times and the Guardian.
Yeah.
What are these?
So
say?
stereotypical like tabloid
Yeah.
news articles, yeah.
Probably just doing it to get attention and money.
Well, where is that coming from? Is that your own beliefs or have you got?
Yeah.
There it is.
What? That they.
They're doing it for attention.
Yeah, I think they fabricate it. You know, they probably fabricate the truth, and even though I believe there is I don't think there's that much of a wage gap, or if not anything.
I think there is probably a gap, but I don't think it's quite as drastic or as really big as a problem as
It's made out to be.
Now.
And
The
it's
gap
definitely-
isn't too bad, but then it's also like
'Cause if-
within jobs.
if you
Like
think-
you wouldn't see a lady working on a construction site
No.
because they don't really seem that.
Exactly.
It's not really,
Well, why
really
not?
Yeah.
Realistically,
acceptable.
an employer's not going to employ someone who can't, like, you're not going to employ a 14-year-old kid over a 25-year-old man
Experience. Yeah.
who can, like, throw a bunch of bricks on his back and climb up a ladder. Do you know
I
what
think
mean?
even if it's a
Most-
25-year-old
usually-
man and 25-year-old woman, they're going to take the man. On a
Usually
construction
women
site
don't
or
want to go
something.
into manual labour jobs like that, and usually like they're not as good at the job because often women just aren't as strong physically as men.
Yeah,
So-
but it's even like a normal job. They'd probably take a man over a woman because they think that the woman would like maybe have a baby or something.
Okay.
That is,
I
like,
work
that's
at
what would
McDonald's.
happen.
There's more women there than there is men, and they
Yeah,
get paid
because
exactly the same.
women
Then-
now, because it's prices for a lot of living requirements have gone up. You in a household, especially if you have children, you need to have some bringing like a dual income. So
Yeah.
a woman will, even if she can't get a full-time job, and maybe they can't afford to have like a cleaner or a babysitter like full-time, they might have a part-time job, say at McDonald's or at a cinema or somewhere where they can work sort of 20 hours a week or
Yeah.
something like that, so they're still home for children. And
So technically, there's the wage gap, with people like males between the two genders in stuff like cinemas, McDonald's, exactly the same. So where are they getting the
pay gap
difference
would
from?
probably be from if a lot of women are encouraged now to go into like science, business and like math sort of in school.
Yeah.
So they'd be in jobs like banking and stuff like that. So, but if you're an employer, you've got to think. Imagine you're the employer. If you're employing a woman or a man, they have the exact same qualifications, and all it's down to is just who do you prefer. You probably will pick the man because even though it's illegal, the man is more likely to stay on until he's 67, 70 something, and then retire when he has to, rather than a woman who would probably leave about 27 to have a child.
And then they'd obviously go off.
But obviously that's still not right. Like, you can't do that.
But if you think, who would you rather have?
Yeah.
Put yourself in that position as like an employer.
From a business point of view, you're not going to.
No, because if the woman's like better qualified.
No, but I'm saying
same
equal.
qualifications.
Well, then I'd. Oh God. I think it really depends. I think it really depends.
On what?
If they're exactly the same, then I'm just going to be like, who's more approachable,
Outgoing.
who's more outgoing, who's more friendly, who do I think,
But
I
who
think
looks better for the job?
Not
sometimes
what their
being-
gender is. I think that's
Well,
ridiculous.
no, what they're looking at what will happen in the future. So who's going to be working for them for longer? Who's going to be working for them for
But they
more
may
than
not want. They
just
may
10
not
years?
to go off and have a baby or
Obviously,
something.
yeah.
Like
Obviously,
you can't
some
say
women
that.
don't want to have
Yeah,
a
but
child.
most-
you can't
and
really
won't.
say that.
Most women will have
But
children.
the likelihood is most women have at least one child.
You can look at it from this perspective.
And
as
if
well,
they
though,
went,
like-
if they were to have a baby and they come,
Go
they
back.
come, they come back.
Just go for it.
But that's only for the
But that's
maternity
only-
leave, which
that's
is
only if-
6 months.
How do you
Yeah.
look after a child if you're at work full time?
Well, they'd obviously.
And you can't afford like someone to care for the child.
They obviously have to sort that out and organise it, but you can't just pick a man over a woman for a job just because they may potentially have a baby in the future.
Obviously, yeah, that's
like you
true.
can't do that, and you can't like think, oh, what's going to happen, blah blah blah, because the women might actually be better than the man as well. So
Well, what I was about to say, like you could look at it from a perspective where the father might leave, so it might just be the woman staying on. But
Yeah.
obviously, an employer is not going to look at it like that. So there is obviously going to be like some gender bias in interviews and applications.
yeah, how do you know the male's not going to leave?
Yeah.
So you can't base it off that.
Yeah, but what's it? Oh, sorry. Yeah, but obviously, male. They, as you were saying, that a female could have a baby, but a male can't. They can't have a baby.
But they could leave for
And
any
often now they're
circumstances.
saying that men, I think, I'm not sure if it's in England, but definitely in Finland or Sweden or something, they're making it like maternity leave. So for men, is compulsory. They have to take about 6 weeks off. They have to
Yeah.
now, so that it's not just all on women to do the childbearing.
Yeah, men get like 2 weeks off, like a average
and
at the moment.
They don't have to. They're not
Yeah.
entitled to.
Yeah.
But then they could also leave for any other reason that you
But
don't
usually-
So
know.
could women.
What would you say to most women, like now, like in sort of now it's not as much because more women want to have a career, but sort of 50 years ago, a lot of women just wanted to have a child and stay at home.
That's because that was kind of their roles, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah, but they were brought up. They were conditioned to be
that's how it was.
that way. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can't. Everything's changed now. It's completely changed.
Yeah.
I think most women are like quite career driven as well. Like they're not really worried about having a family. So some
Well, some might be,
women,
yeah.
and some women are. But
It
then
depends on your own
if
personal
you-
goals.
And I think that also, I personally wouldn't go for a job where, if I was planning to have children in like a few years' time, where I've got such a big responsibility, I probably would step down from that anyway. Like I probably wouldn't go for that.
Like you wouldn't go for such a career such as like a medicine.
Yeah, if I knew
Yeah.
I was going to be like having, like I wanted children, I'm going to leave. But I think that's how like women actually like think these days as well.
Do you think that if you were going to have children, you'd be the breadwinner or looking after the children?
I mean, I think it depends on like your partner as well,
Yeah.
like what their perspective is. Like they may want to stay at home. Who says they have to go out to work?
Exactly.
Why can't I go back to work? So it really depends.
Usually, I think it's because men often do have the better job and more money. in the job than women do.
Well, it's not. That's not
We're linking
necessarily
back
true.
to the pay gap, I reckon.
Yeah, I'd say that as well.
Well, what would you say about, so like a more modern relationship would be something like a lesbian relationship, something that wouldn't have been accepted in like the 80s or the 70s. So what would you say about that? What would they then do if they had a child?
Oh, then like obviously they just gotta they choose who's gonna stay, who's.
Well, who says that one has to be one or the other?
Well, a lot of gay couples are like a lot more equal. So like jobs in the house, like domestic jobs, like doing washing and cleaning and things like that, are a lot more split. Whereas with like same-sex or opposite-sex couples, it's mainly the man doing like sort of DIY work and going to work, and the woman doing cleaning and taking care of children. Yeah, cooking and cleaning.
Right.
Yeah.
Linking back to what Sophie said about education, I think women are definitely, like, it's equal in education now, to sort of the extent that there's no limits on women. Like before, men were able to go to university, but women, the richest women could go, but they still wouldn't get a degree from it. They just sort of learn, they wouldn't get anything out of it. But now, obviously, you know, there's no sort of discrimination. Like, women aren't in school said to do like textiles and cleaning, whereas boys do like DIY and woodworking. Now it's sort of, you can do what you want, but I think it's also the way people are like socialised as they grow up into sort of doing those jobs anyway. So a lot of, if you look into like an A-level physics class, there are not many girls in there.
No.
And usually in maths, there's not many girls either. So I think there are a few things in place that they try to like, a few programs to try and get girls to like do more of those kind of subjects, like women in engineering and stuff like that, to sort of show girls like what it's like, and not that it's like, when you think about an engineering, what do you think of?
A man.
Yeah.
No, but like what kind of jobs? Like
Cars.
yeah, exactly, like cars, being a mechanic, greasy, stuff like that women usually don't want to do. And in films and even stuff like that, men seem to be doing that.
Yeah, it's
but
more
really,
stereotypical.
Really, it's not much manual labour work at all. Like, it's mainly in the office. So I think introducing those things and getting women to actually like see
Try
that,
it, yeah.
will sort of change also the pay gap again, because they'll be sort of mixed in with those jobs as well.
Yeah.
So men won't always have the best jobs and
women get
yeah,
as
and
well.
the best degrees, because women will start to go into those rather than doing subjects like sociology or health and social care.
Yeah, well, going back to what you said about the classrooms and there not being many women in them, it still has come like a long way since 20 years ago, say.
Like now, when asked, a lot of girls in school say that they want to go into a career in like sort of finance or law or something like that, whereas before it would have been like, oh, I just want to have a family, and doesn't really care too much about what job they have.
Yeah.
So, Carter.
So, I have a fun fact. Ready? So by 2020, there'll be 1.4 million open technology jobs in the US. And at the current rate of students graduating with degrees in computer science, men will outnumber women 4-1. Girls Who Code aims to educate and expose at least 1 million girls to computer science by 2020. So that was a link to it.
So that kind of still links into like the classroom sort of stuff.
Yeah, because obviously it's jobs like technology and computer science. It seems to be more predominantly
Men.
towards men.
Yeah, I mean, but if I was to say like, I want to do like engineering or something, I don't think I'd get like a good reaction from a lot of people anyway. So I think.
No.
Who do you think the bad reaction would come from though? Like your friend group or
I
like
think
other boys?
I think both really. Like my friends probably wouldn't really agree with it.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "That's weird."
Just get some new friends.
If I told boys that I wanted to, you'd probably think that's, you know,
You shouldn't
not
do that.
right, and that you'd probably say, "Why do you want to do that?" Like, yeah, I think from everyone really.
Well, society would probably still accept it more so.
Yeah, I feel like that's changed. I feel like people like now can I feel like doing stuff is a bit more acceptable. Is like say if someone in, I don't know, 1950, a woman in 1950 said, "Oh, I want to be an engineer," that would definitely be sort of like, oh, you know.
I still think now though it's still very.
Why do you think that is though?
No, but I feel like maybe friends might be like, oh well, why did you do that? Like say but I feel like if you went into an industry and as an engineer, as a female or something like that, I still feel like it would be fine.
I think once you get past college into like university level, there would be a lot more
acceptance
girls in
Yeah.
like sort of your class for sort of engineering or whatever, because obviously everyone just thinks that this is normal because
I don't think there's that
girls
much of
in
a problem of.
I think it's just in sort of lower school where it's a
Yeah.
bit more.
We're taught a lot more stereotypes when you're a
Yeah.
lot younger, so you kind of like associate those with people and where they're going, sort of stuff.
Because as you progress into school, like from going into doing your options at GCSE and then going to A levels and then doing university, you start to be in groups with people who actually are passionate about
The same
stuff
sort of
they
things,
do.
yeah.
So obviously that's why. So if you're in a class full of people, say I don't know if there's an engineering class, but if there's all doing that, they're not going to judge you for doing something that they want to do as well.
Yeah, well, that's quite a good point actually. So.
Yeah. Preach it, sister.
Okay,
Yeah.
so linking into like a sort of different topic now, it was like radical feminism.
Yeah, like it's quite a good point Carter made, like that we just said about that a lot of women are like, it's a lot more equal now, but I think feminism can often be blown out of proportion, and that's what people see on the news because it's a bit more impactful when you read about it. So that's a lot of people's impression of feminism as a whole, when in actual fact that's not what it should be. But that's sort of radical feminism, and like some of their ideas, like one sort of comment where they said about moving like all men in England to like the Isle of Wight so that they can bring up, and then just taking like their sperm and making like
obviously this
new
is
men, and then like bringing them up to sort of in a matriarchal society where women are sort of on top, because they sort of say that all societies in the world are made on a patriarchal society where men are sort of always on top. But I think that's sort of because before you had machines and things that can sort of make jobs easier, you just had to like, you know, you don't have a car to like lift rocks up a hill, you have to carry them. So men are more sort of suited to do that, so that's probably why they were on top rather than like doing the actual labour and doing the important jobs, because women just couldn't do it.
Yeah. Would you not think that kind of like strikes them as ironic though?
Yeah.
It's the whole idea around feminism is for equal rights.
And they've sort of gone more on the side of we want to like turn the tables,
Yeah.
but not even turn the tables as society is now, like turn it into
So
sort of
extreme.
what it was like 50 or 100 years ago, where men were like far on top and women were sort of just seen as
housewives.
like, looking nice and, you know, not really aspiring to anything.
Yeah. Alright, so I think that's actually all we have time for today, so thank you for coming and thank you for
Thank
listening.
you, I really enjoyed it. See you again next time. Woo!